shoot, lads, you can do it yet. Come on, Newport County, oh, bang it in the net.
Hello everybody, welcome to Taff's Word, and we're going to do something a little bit different today. So basically what I've wanted to do, ever since the statement made by Hugh Jenkins that the team now has got more talent in it than it did 2 years ago when he first took over. So a lot of people rubbished that, laughed it off, he's talking out of his ass, he doesn't know what he's on about, you know, we're crap now compared to 2 years ago. I thought to myself, surely there's some substance behind that. Surely there's a reason why he's made that kind of statement. Because you don't just say something like that publicly unless you genuinely believe it. So for someone as involved in football as he's been over the years to come out with that, there had to be something behind it. So I've had a bit of an idea. Now, people might say that I'm backing Hugh Jenkins or I'm biased. So I thought, right, I'm not just going to do this on my own. I am going to compare. I'm going to find a way of comparing the two squads. And I'm not going to do it completely by myself. So the idea is I've excluded all loan players. So it's purely on acquired talent to Newport County. And basically, I've put out the strongest 11 from both squads, and what you do, you're comparing completely like for like. Well, not completely like for like, but you're comparing players based on the positions they've been put in these teams. And there's going to be a few where, you know, different positions come up against each other, but what me and this other person have decided is that we're going to do it on a pound for pound talent basis. So this player versus this player, pound for pound, who's the best player? And basically, it's a the strongest starting 11 with 7 subs. And so we basically did the comparison across all of them. And ultimately, there's 18 points up for grabs. So the 23-24 squad versus the 25-26 squad. So we've got, like I say, the strongest 11 excluding substitutes. Excluding loan players. But it's the strongest 11 including 7 substitutes. So every single one, as you go along, is compared against each other. And then whoever wins that comparison basically wins a point for that squad. And then, so my sister-in-law's boyfriend, Lloyd, joined me after the game earlier, and we thrashed this out. We decided together who the strongest 11 would be when you remove all the loan players out of both squads, and there is just enough players to go round without the loan players to put together an 11 and a subs bench. So basically, this is the chance for me to completely debunk what Hugh Jenkins has said, or support what Hugh Jenkins have said. So we're going to go with it now. So the lineups. So for the 23-24 season, this is the lineup. You're going with Nick Townsend, Shane McLaughlin, Ryan Delaney, James Clark, Kyle Jameson, Bryn Morris, Aaron Wildig, Harry Charsley, Scott Bennett, Will Evans, Omar Bogle. The subs bench, Johnny Maxted, Declan Drysdale, Josh Sebury, James Waite, Kibben Wright, Ofrende Zanzala, and Luke Jeffcott. So that there is the starting 11 and 7 subs for the 23-24 season, excluding loan players. 25-26, Jordan Wright, Liam Shepherd, Lee Jenkins, Matt Baker, Tom Davis, Matt Smith, Kai Whitmore, Cameron Antwi, Bobby Camera, Courtney Baker-Richardson, and Jed Garner. On the bench, Nick Zanev, Akin Odemeo, James Clark, Cameron Evans, Kieran Brennan, Anthony Glennon, and Michael Spellman. So that there is just your 11 and subs for both squads, excluding all loan players. Got to keep saying that because I know there's going to be someone there, oh, what about this player? Loan. What about that player? Loan. No loans. Newport County acquired talent. Now, the thing is, if you're going to do this, you've got to base it on the words you actually used. There's more talent in the squad now than there was when he first took over. And this is basically based on the squad that we had when he first took over. And now we got the squad that we got now. So the first comparison, we're ready to go now. The way we've done it is we both voted in favour of someone. And if we were split, basically everything is either unanimous or if it's split. Well, there were a few splits. If it was split, we had another person standing by to claim to basically cast the final vote. So a little star on the side of, you know, whichever way they went whenever it was split. We had someone to cast the final vote for us. So first comparison is Nick Townsend versus Jordan Wright. And we went with Nick Townsend. And I think most people will probably agree with that. So 23-24, 1, 25-26, 0. On to the next. Shane McLaughlin versus Liam Shepherd. We unanimously went with Liam Shepherd. Now, there might be a few that might believe Shane McLaughlin would be worthy of that. But for me, Liam Shepherd was excellent for us a few years back when we had him. He's been very good for Salford in between. And he came back and scored and assisted on his debut. Unfortunately, he finds himself injured at the moment, so we'll be very much looking forward to welcoming him back to the team. Shane McLaughlin had a very good season in his first year. Last season, I think he went a bit missing. So we decided Liam Shepherd wins that one, so it's 1-1. Mind you, if you guys want to do your own comparison based on the squads we've put out and come up with your own score, feel free. I'm giving you everything that you need to do that. So Ryan Delaney versus Lee Jenkins. We basically declared Lee Jenkins within a second. Yeah, that was quite an easy one for us there. So James Clark versus Matt Baker. Now the big splitting thing here. Now, so I went with Baker and Lloyd went with Clark. And the casting vote went with Clark. So Clark wins that one. But the thing there is Clark is a better defender than Matt Baker. For me, Matt Baker was a better all-round player. But then Clark, I think if you're looking for his position, pound for pound better defender or pound for pound better footballer, I made the argument that it's meant to be about talent. I thought Matt Baker has got more raw talent, but the deciding vote went with James Clark. But I didn't kick back on that one. I was perfectly fine with it, to be honest with you, because James Clark for me has been excellent for this football club and continues to be, you know, when he does actually play. So yeah, I was happy enough with that. So that pushed the score at 2-2. The next was Carl Jameson versus Tom Davis. Tom Davis won that quite resoundingly anyway. So that makes it 3-2 to the 25-26 squad. Moving on to the midfield, we had Bryn Morris versus Bryn Morris versus Matt Smith. Matt Smith took that, because I'm sure Bryn Morris has actually declared Wales. And Matt Smith, for me, 12 caps, been to a World Cup. Got to have more in him than Bryn Morris, as far as I'm concerned. Now, before people say, oh, Bryn Morris was good for us and Matt Smith has hardly played for us, we're talking about talent, the talent in the squad. Now, you can't really compare new players to old players if you're looking at who's done more for Newport County. This is purely talent alone. So with that makes it 4-2 to the 25-26 squad. Then you got Kai Whitmore versus Aaron Wildig. I went with Wildig, even though I love Kai Whitmore, and I think he's going to surpass Wildig in his career. I went with Wildig because I feel he's got a technical ability where Kai Whitmore's got a raw talent. He's got a unique dribbling ability. He's got a real good core strength and a very good shooting ability, of course. Lloyd went for Kai Whitmore and the deciding vote went for Kai Whitmore too. So that makes it 5-2 to the 25-26 squad. Then we went Harry Charsley versus Cameron Antwi. And it was very much of a similar debate on this one. Now, we declared Cameron Antwi over Harry Charsley. So Harry Charsley was okay. Harry Charsley was okay. I think he was okay for us. He was decent. Don't think he did anything overly spectacular for us, but he was a decent League Two midfielder, and we benefited from having him at the time that we had him, definitely. Cameron Antwi, when he's on it, is very, very good. Cameron Antwi, when he can't be bothered, gets lost and doesn't seem to get involved often enough. We've seen a very different Cameron Antwi recently, and I think the resurgence in his performances have led us to go with Cameron Antwi. Now, it was a very long discussion, this one was. I think Harry Charsley hit his level as a decent League Two midfielder. Cameron Antwi, if he works hard, could surpass that. So on raw talent, Cameron Antwi takes it. So people can dispute that. I'm sure a lot of these will be disputed. I'm sure a lot of you will look at this now and, you know, you'll decide, yeah, I think Charsley was better than Antwi, and that's fine. If you're doing your own comparison, if I'm giving you the opportunity to do your own scoring now, then that's fine. But the thing is, that does make it 6-2 to 25-26. So it's looking good for the current squad. Hugh Jenkins, as it stands, not talking out of his backside in mine, Lloyd's, and the deciding votes opinion, which is my sister-in-law Lucy. You know, she knows her shit, to be fair. But so let's get back to it then. So the next comparison is going to be a strange one. So this one, it divided opinion quite a bit because they're two very, very different players. But pound for pound, we're looking at now. Scott Bennett versus Bobby Camwer. Scott Bennett got you an 8 out of 10, maybe a 7 minimum every single game. Bobby Camwer will give you a 10, then a 4, then a 5, then a 5, then a 6, then a 4, then a 6, then a 10. The consistency of Scott Bennett won that, and I think Scott Bennett was so effective on a football pitch. Bobby Camwer's technically more gifted, but Bobby Camwer doesn't produce consistently. Now, talent levels, you know, I mean, I've seen players play at Sunday League who are quick, really good with their feet, but it's consistent. Doing it consistently shows off your ability. I've seen things happen in League Two that could quite easily would be commonplace in the Premier League, but they don't do it every week like the Premier League teams do. So that for me is, you know, why consistency is very much a case of, you know, it aligns with talent. When you're talented enough, you can do it all the time. When you're not that talented, you can produce the odd good bit of football every now and again. Do you know what I mean? So Scott Bennett won that one, which makes it 6-3 to the 25-26 squad now. I'm going to skip over the strikers because it was quite an easy one. You had Will Evans and Omar Bogle versus Courtney Baker-Richardson and Jed Garner. Yeah, obviously Evans and Bogle take both, which makes it 6-5 to the 25-26. So the 23-24, getting back into it a little bit there, but that's the full 11 done. There's players missing from this, but yeah, there's players missing from this because we couldn't fit all of them in. And the one player we missed from the 25-26 squad, and I've only for some reason only just realised that we missed him out, was Joe Thomas. We put James Clark in again on the 25-26 squad. I think Clarkey was more of a figure for the 23-24 squad than he was for the 25-26 squad. So he should remain there. And Joe Thomas would take the place of James Clark. But for me, I'm quite certain, not even certain, I'm absolutely fucking, yeah, no matter what, the result doesn't change. So, first of all, we got Johnny Maxted from the 23-24 squad versus Nick Zanev. Nick Zanev takes that. Johnny Maxted didn't see much of him. Johnny Maxted is now in the National League. Nick Zanev just came from League One. yeah, there's levels there. Declan Drysdale versus Akinodemayo. We went with Akinodemayo, even though we haven't seen overly much of him for us at the moment. It's still the fact that he's been at Swindon, Northampton, came through at Reading and done what he did. Declan Drysdale was a promising looking player, but never quite performed for us and hasn't really made much of himself since. So Akinodemayo won that one. So the next is Josh Seabury versus Joe Thomas, but we had James Clark in this. We picked James Clark quite resoundingly. Joe Thomas would win that again quite resoundingly anyway. Next one is James Waite versus Cameron Evans, and we went with James Waite on technical ability alone. Now, I love Cameron. Cameron Evans is a proper, you know, you put him in there and he'll win the ball, he'll block the ball, he'll track players back, and he will put himself in a strong position to make a good defensive move. James Waite for us was just a technically gifted footballer, and maybe the timing wasn't great for him to obviously make something of himself whilst he had the opportunity to with us in League Two. He now sees himself in the Conference South. But then that's where Cam Evans came from. I think Waite just won it purely on technical ability alone. And that was a unanimous one with me and Lloyd. Then we got, again, two very different players. Kibben Rai versus Kieran Brennan. We both went with Kieran Brennan. Purely because Kieran Brennan, you know, was playing championship football, you know, occasionally with Sheffield Wednesday, played in League One with them as well. Look, you know, he was a constant figure for starting or on the bench for us, or came off the bench quite often. Kibben Rai scored one header against Brentford. Never really achieved much more at the football club, unfortunately for him. Obviously, there was a lot of, you know, hope that he would do something, you know, he would turn into the kind of player we wanted him to, but it never came about in the end, unfortunately. You could say it was because of lack of chances, but lack of chances might be because they were seeing things in training that they thought, oh, maybe he's not worthy of that chance at this particular moment, and that was that. But Kieran Brennan wins that. So we had Ofrende Zanzala versus Anthony Glennon. We both went with Zanzala. Felt he was a good player for us. Just got injured too often, unfortunately. Anthony Glennon, not the greatest of defenders. Great with his left foot, putting the ball in the box. Great as part of an attacking move as well. But Ofrende Zanzala took that one. And then the last one, split a bit of opinion. It was Luke Jeffcott versus Michael Spellman. That's the final one. So Michael Spellman for me, hasn't achieved much in the game where Luke Jeffcott has. Jeffcott is going backwards, Michael Spellman is going forwards. Michael Spellman finds himself still a Football League player. Luke Jeffcott now finds himself in the non-league. So their careers are taking different directions. So Luke Jeffcott started quick, pushed up, and is doing that. Michael Spellman started down here and is doing that. If Spellman carries on, he could carry on doing that, or he may do that. Either way, Jeffcott is doing that. So we went with Spellman. So overall, 23-24 squad got 7 points. 25-26 squad got 11 points. Now, I think what was the ones we thought might split the opinion a bit. So first of all, we thought Shepherd and McLaughlin, although I'm sure most people would agree Shepherd would win that one. But Shepherd versus McLaughlin could split opinion. Clark and Baker was the one that we thought would split opinion. I got a feeling most people would pick Baker over Clark if you're looking at talent. Whitmore and Wildig could split opinion, I think. Antwi and Charsley will definitely split opinion, I'm sure of it. And possibly Cameron and Scott Bennett. But then you look at it then, Waite and Cameron Evans may split opinion. Spellman and Jeffcott may split opinion, but either way, if we look at all those split opinions, if we say we award the points the other way, the 25-26 squad still comes out on top, and it's not even overly close. It's 11-7. There's 4 points in it. So if you're comparing them all on pure talent, the talent pool at Newport County is stronger. Based on that there, the talent pool at Newport County is stronger now than it was when Hugh Jenkins first took over. So for those who said he was full of shit, this here will hopefully be an enlightener that there is more talent in the squad than there was 2 years ago. We were playing better 2 years ago. Key word. If you do that again on who has the most experience in our division, well, very, very quick. I'm going to run through it very, very quickly. Most experience in our division: Nick Townsend, Liam Shepherd, Ryan Delaney, James Clark, Carl Jameson. Smith or Morris would be a tough one because Morris doesn't have any in League 2 as such, but League 1, Championship, Scottish Premier League, they're higher divisions. But you would say Bryn Morris, Aaron Wildig over Kai Whitmore, Harry Charsley over Antwi, Scott Bennett over Bobby Camwer, CBR over Will Evans, and Omar Bogle over Jed Garner, Zanev over Maxted, Odemayo over Drysdale, Joe Thomas over Josh Sebury, James Waite over Cam Evans, Kieran Brennan over Kiban Rai, Zanzala over Glennon, and Jeffcott over Spellman. So in which case the 23-24 squad wins on experience, and it's probably of a similar gap. So that there spells that there is more talent, there's just not as much experience, but there's still plenty of enough experience. I think if you're looking at the problems at the football club at the moment, I think the problems run a little bit deeper. Is it the manager? I don't want to say it's the manager because, we've won games where we've won a few games this season where the manager has set us up well enough to go out and win that game. Has he got the lineups correct? Well, he's kept the winning team for the last few lineups, which has been good, but not so good today. Injuries, is that playing a part? If you look at who we got out injured at the moment, the list: Tom Davis, Matt Baker, Liam Shepherd, Jaden Warner, James Clark, who else now? Matt Smith, Keenan Patton, Mike Spellman, Nathaniel Opoku. Quite an extensive injury list, really, isn't it, for our division? Would any of those players just mentioned have made a difference today? Yeah, plenty of them would have. Opoku would have given us something up front. Spellman would have been an option to come off the bench. Matt Smith would have given us something. Liam Shepherd definitely would have given us something. Matt Baker. Yeah. Tom Davis. Is injury the issue at the moment? The injury list? Probably. But if we could go on to the point of this video, was Hugh right regarding the talent? But when you sit and analyse things properly, when you look at it and think, oh, we did better that season than we did than we've been doing this season, you can quite easily rubbish it. It's talent. There is more talent in this squad than there was 2 years ago. There's just more experience in the squad 2 years ago. Good experience. And maybe that's where we're lacking. Or maybe, as I said, there could be something deeper. Maybe there is enough experience there, but half of it is fucking injured at the moment. Yeah. So, far as what Hugh said, the actual words, for me, he's dead right. So what do you guys think? Thanks for watching all 25 minutes of this, me going on, talking crap. And yeah, thanks. I've been getting quite a lot of comments lately, people who like watching the videos, think I talk a lot of sense. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. It's always nice to talk to people as well, you know, about the club, you know, in depth. When you can talk in depth, you can analyse, you can scrutinise, you can do it properly, not just, you know, be 3 fucking pints down and just shake shit. You can actually unpack a football match in the right way. You can analyse it, you can watch it, you can look at the movement, the runs that they're making, you know, the passes, the accuracy of the passes, you know, the decision making. You can analyse that stuff when you can watch the game properly. And the same goes for when you're unpacking a statement made by a chairman that there's more talent in the team. For me, there is. And I'd like to think that I've just proven it. So, thanks again for watching. Cheerio for now, and as always, up the county.